We got a story here from Zero Hedge. It involves Nicolas Sarkozy. Remember, Sarkozy, Cameron, and Hillary Clinton were the three people at the front of the demolition of Libya and going after Gaddafi. It was those three leaders, Cameron, Sarkozy, and Hillary Clinton, that destroyed Libya, that pushed for the destruction of Libya. Now we have Sarkozy is going to prison. Not in connection with Libya, even though there were a lot of bribes and a lot of corruption there on the part of Nicolas Sarkozy, but for a completely different bribe and completely different corruption. Let's see what's going on here. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy sentenced to prison in humiliating corruption conviction. A Paris court has found former French President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption, which is only the second time in modern history that a French head of state has gone down on such a charge, for which he'd been issued a sentence of 3 years in prison, 2 of which have been suspended. Despite the prison sentence, it's expected, however, that the 66-year-old will serve the non-suspended 1-year portion on probation with an electronic bracelet and subject to a curfew. No different than what we're living right now, I guess, because we're all subject to a curfew and pretty much everyone's on lockdown. So pretty much he's getting a slap on the wrist. Presiding judge described in the ruling that the particularly serious crimes involving France's leader, who was in office from 2017 to 2012, centered on him using his status as president to peddle influence for personal gain while violating state secrecy. Pretty much what every politician in the world does. Just looks like Sarkozy, number one, either got caught, or number two, the globalists and the elite have no need for him anymore and they're throwing him under the bus. One of the two. That is what's going on here, and he's getting a slap on the wrist. Lagarde was also found guilty of crimes, and look where she ended up. She's running the European Central Bank. She got promoted up, even though she is also a criminal, according to French law. So, big deal here. Sarkozy, quote, knew what he was doing was wrong, the judge wrote, adding that his actions and those of a public magistrate and personal lawyer, both which were also found guilty of aiding in the scheme, had given the public a very bad image of justice, end quote. I'm sure Sarkozy will end up being, I don't know, head of the UN or something, Secretary General of the UN after this. As the BBC described, the former president had been found guilty of trying to bribe a magistrate by offering a prestigious job in Monaco in return for information about a criminal inquiry into his political party. The key evidence came from taped phone calls going back to 2014. The case centered on a conversation between Azerbaert and Herzog, which were taped by investigators looking into claims that Sarkozy accepted illicit payments from the L'Oreal heiress Liliane Bettencourt for his 2007 presidential campaign. The phone line they tapped was a secret number set up in a fictional name, Paul Bismuth, through which Sarkozy communicated with his lawyer. All right, France 24 says French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for corruption, with 2 of those years suspended, and the one of those years he'll be on curfew, but living in his flat or his home in France or Paris, wherever he resides. A slap on the wrist, guys, and after all of this is said and done, don't be surprised if in 3, 4, 5 years Sarkozy ends up being, the head of the EU or something like that. He'll get promoted up. Still influential among conservatives, it caps a series of humiliations which continued after his failed 2012 re-election bid. Sarkozy is also the first French former head of state to appear in the dock. All right. He's expected to appeal the ruling. So that's what's going on with Nicolas Sarkozy, one of the 3 people that led the destruction and the attack against Libya. And he's getting something, I guess. 3 years, 2 years suspended, 1 year with an electronic bracelet and on a curfew. At least he's getting something, but slap on the wrist for what these guys did. Cameron, Sarkozy, and Hillary Clinton. A slap on the wrist. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Take care, everybody.